So the first thing we're going to do or start prepping is the celery. So I just bought this at Costco. It was just a few dollars, and it's in their fresh produce section. So once you get it home, you want to start prepping it as soon as possible. Just rinse it out. If you can get organic, that's better. If not, either way, you have to rinse it very well. These are pre-cut. The bottoms and the leaves are cut off already, so that makes our prep time a little easier. Although I do love the leafy part of the celery. To me, that's where a lot of the magic happens. Celery is actually an herb. It's not a fruit or vegetable or even a root vegetable. It's an herb, and it's got a lot of great healing properties, which we'll talk about in a different video. Right now, I just want to show the basic principle of how to use a knife safely. All right, so, and I've got scars to prove the times that I didn't use it safely. So, number one, you want a nice a chef's knife. Whatever length you use, doesn't matter, but you want it to be nice and wide. A nice wide blade is the key. You want to hold it in the handle. You don't want to be holding it here. Trust me on that one, right? You want a nice firm grip. This is called tang, T-A-N-G. Full tang handle is really great. This is a Cutco knife. I highly recommend it, but you don't have to buy the expensive stuff for it to work. Just make sure it's very sharp, because you're actually more likely to hurt yourself, to cut yourself, if the knife is not sharp enough for the job. If it's sharp enough, all you have to do is handle it with respect and you'll be fine. It might take a few cuts to learn that, but once you get it, you'll be fine. Hold it like this, okay? And you're going to put the blade up against the middle part of your other hand on your knuckles. So obviously if you're lefty, it's going to be like this. I'm not a lefty, so that's for all you lefties out there. Steve Callis, right? So the blade is going to go against like this, and your fingertips are going to hold whatever it is you're cutting, and you're going to keep your thumb behind that leading edge. Because if you have your thumb out like this, you're going to have a scar like I do, right? So, for example, I like to cut off the little dry ends, okay? And I sometimes do have my finger up here, but I'm advanced. I'll try to do it beginner style, okay? Another thing to remember is when you're cutting, I recommend placing the knife and using it like a lever, like this, okay? It's much safer than trying to do this. Don't do this, do this. Plant the knife, and you're going to feed the celery through and pass it under the blade, all right? That's one way to do it. I'll show you, like this, cut, cut, cut. See, I'm feeding the celery through. So some juicers, we're going to talk about juicing, but some juicers need you to cut the food into smaller pieces first. Others, you can just put the whole stalk in. But this is a good skill to have no matter what. So lever it, push the celery through, okay? You get the idea. And you're going to go kind of in a circle or a figure eight, right? You're going to bring it in, slice, but the blade is never going to lose contact with the cutting board, okay? I'll do it with just one, because if you've got something bigger like a carrot that's a little tougher to cut, what you're going to do, again, you're going to have the blade up against the middle part of your finger between the two knuckles, and you're going to use that as your guide, and you're going to pull it back, and you're going to lift the knife just a little bit, but you're not going to move what you're cutting. If it's big, like I said, like a giant carrot stick sliced in half lengthwise, you're going to just put it down, the flat side down, and you can lift your knife and use your finger as a guide to pull the blade back so that you're slicing at the spot where you want to slice, all right? So the reason I'm telling you this is safety is very important, and when everyone knows how to use the instruments in the kitchen, it makes things a lot better. So when you know where your knife is and you know that your fingers are tucked, you can slice stuff and talk into an iPhone and know you're not going to miss some fingers afterwards, okay?